Ka-Kafanee.
Lil Wayne's finally back with the Carter 6, and honestly, it's one of the worst albums I heard in recent history. Lil Wayne, without a doubt, is one of the greatest rappers of all time, and had one of the greatest runs in rap history. And after playing such a big part in rap and having such an iconic run, Lil Wayne's influence is impossible to escape. He's inspired the newer generation from artists from Cardi, Young Thug, Tyler, Uzi, Travis, Nicki, Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole, and a countless amount of other rappers, even receiving praise from some of the greats like Eminem, Kanye, and Jay-Z.
And I want to give this award to Wayne for this year. If it was last year, this would have been my award. This year's Wayne Award.
He even made Jay-Z question his own place in rap after hearing his Doe's What I Got freestyle from the Drought 3 back in 2007.
Tryna tell you I can kick it like Luke Kane, nigga. Got that Sub-Zero flow, how you owe me mine? Nigga, get over here like Scorpion.
And while it's been nearly 2 decades since his original run, he still has remained highly relevant throughout the years, and has still released great music. Even back in 2018 when he released the Carter 5, fans in the world at large really loved the album. And the album went on to go #1 and sell 480K first week, which only very few rappers in the streaming era could do. But since the release of the Carter 6, fans' reactions have been totally opposite of what they were for Carter 5, which many are finding to be one of his worst albums. And me personally, I totally agree. After coming off the whole Super Bowl situation and Lil Wayne crying about not getting it for 6 months, I would think if he's coming back with an album, especially so soon after the situation, it will be one of his better albums, or at least one of the best of the year. And after a few listens of the album, I'm totally disappointed in it. And realistically, he should have never dropped any album, at least waited till next year or so, because no one was really dying for a new Lil Wayne album. And that would have gave him space for the fans to miss him, and give him time to really craft a great next installment to the Carter series. A series that includes some of the greatest rap albums of all time, like the Carter 2 and the Carter 3. But instead, he decided to release this album, and it sounds like a random mixtape, to be honest with you. And not even up to the same quality as the newer dedication tapes. The runtime of the album is 1 hour and 8 minutes, and it's 19 songs long. And out of all those tracks, there's only a few that are actually good, and have any replay value. When I first heard King Carter, I had a lot of hope for the album.
Wayne stays timeless. He'll never die.
It's such a dramatic intro, and it makes it feel like the next 18 songs you're going to listen to are going to be some of the best you're going to hear. And King Carter leading into Welcome to the Carter kind of carries that momentum, especially when the song starts with that sample.
Welcome to the Carter. Welcome to the Carter. Where the night is alive. Welcome to the strong survive.
And if I'm being honest, I actually like Welcome to the Carter. I think it's one of the best songs on the entire album. From the sample to the flow to the bars, everything sounds so well put together. And while he's not saying anything overly crazy on this song, he does have a couple great bars on it.
I went from checking niggas to the nigga who signed checks. My flow like the flu I catch. I'm higher than your tube socks stretch.
It's definitely not as great as some of the past projects he's had, but it's definitely not a bad way to start the album. After that, it just goes downhill. The next track's hip hop, and it features Jay Jones and Big X the Plug.
Thinking about the G-Lock, he run up Betty, get pop, yeah I rap, but fuck this hip hop.
And while I like the chorus to the song, after I heard the first verse, I immediately knew Lil Wayne has nothing more to rap about.
Bitch, 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 make a nigga rich, rich, rich. I like the pussy deep dish and when it goes squish, squish, squish.
Because virtually every line in this album is something he's already said. And while Lil Wayne definitely isn't known for having like a lot of substance in the music that he makes, but at 42, you gotta have something else, man. It just feels like most of the verses on this entire album are the exact same with a different font. To Lil Wayne's credit, he's been rapping since like 14 years old. So he's pretty much said every verse or every bar he can probably imagine. And I normally give him a little bit more grace because of that, but back in 2023 when Andre 3000 did his New Blue Sun album and had his interview where he mentioned that he doesn't have anything to rap about.
Now, like, people think, oh man, he's just sitting on raps, or like he's just holding these raps hostage. Like, I ain't got no raps like that. Like,
Wayne actually responded saying that he has everything to rap about.
This age and the things I'm doing, it like, what am I supposed to talk about? Oh, that was so different. Like, I have everything to talk about.
And after hearing Carter 6, that was just a bald-faced lie. And even since 2023, he's already put out 2 different projects, which honestly weren't even needed. Lil Wayne's one of the biggest rappers on the planet, and already has one of the most extensive catalogs in rap. So at this point in his career, he doesn't really need to be releasing music so routinely. Honestly, he really could just be on a 3 to 4 year album cycle, and only release albums when he really has something to say. But clearly that's not his plan.
I'ma
do my own thing.
When I listened to Sharks, I literally almost turned off the album and didn't go back to it. If I ever was looking for like the quintessential example of coworker music, I'd play the... Personally, I have nothing against Jelly Roll. I think he did great on Eminem's album, but this is just horrible and I have not even the slightest clue how this made it to the album. Both him and Big Sean's verses are still decent, but that doesn't even save the song. And at this point, it just solidified that the album wasn't going to be good, and this man's just throwing random songs on here. Because after this, he has 2 more songs that are just misses as well. Banned from the NO sounds like a song that would work way better on just a plain mixtape. Again, doesn't really have any super memorable bars on it, and it just seems like he's just rapping to be rapping. The fact that The Days made it to the album as well really confused me. This isn't the type of song that needs to be on an album. This song is soundtrack music, and it just seems so out of place amongst the other tracks, especially coming from Banned from the NO. And why on earth is Bono on the song? Like, no one on earth was asking for a Bono Lil Wayne song. With Cotton Candy and Flex Up, he kinda redeems himself a little bit. I really love the sample in Cotton Candy and the overall production. And both Wayne and 2 Chainz had great verses. It also follows the very sample-based production that the album's had already. Flex Up is also really great, and I mainly have no complaints about the song. I really love his flow on it. I really love how the beginning of the beat sounds kind of Jersey inspired. I don't really care for the trap drums that they put on it. I feel like the song could have been better without them. But the only thing I really don't like about the song is he continues to cry about Jay-Z not picking him for the Super Bowl.
Humble yourself. Humility goes a long way.
And it's just like, Wayne, we've seen you perform, man. There was going to be nothing that Lil Wayne could have done or any person he could have brought out which would have been anywhere remotely good as what Kendrick did during the Super Bowl. So I think at this point, bro, you should just let it go. After that, he has another left turn with Island Holiday, which samples Weezer. This is just one of those songs where it's like a really uncalled for sample. On top of the sample just being uncalled for, the song itself isn't even good. On an island in the sun. And Loki's theme just adds to the confusion of what's the actual direction this album's supposed to go. Even the guitars at the end of Loki's theme really seem out of place in comparison to the rest of the album, even though the guitars themselves sound good. I don't really care for the rest of the song outside of the guitars on here. If I Played Guitar isn't necessarily a bad song. Again, it just doesn't sonically fit the album at all. I could play the keys the way you play these games with me. I play you a symphony. It seems like a song would probably be better if you gave it to somebody else, because some of his singing was just sorry at best. If I play guitar the way you play games with my heart, I play. When I first heard Peanuts to an Elephant, I had to cut the album off for a little bit. Are you serious? Because this song has one of the most childish beats I've ever heard Lil Wayne rap on. What up, though? All my niggas cutthroat. Cut a nigga head off, you looking like you bump. And again, follows the same problem of this song doesn't sonically make sense for the rest of the project. And I really just can't understand why he got the guy from Hamlet to produce this song and co-write it with him. At this point, you're not even trying at all.
Shaking my head downtown in disgust. You fought niggas disappoint me.
I can't even hate on Rari. I always appreciate when an artist puts like their kid on the song. I think Cameron did good on the song. Wayne's verses were still good, so I don't really have any complaints for it. Definitely not one of my favorite songs, but I'm not mad at it. I don't think the verses on Maria are really bad. I actually think they're really good, but I still don't think he should have sampled Ave Maria, especially when the sampling is just lazy. On top of that, no hate to Wyclef Jean, but why on earth are you getting a Wyclef Jean verse in 2025? It's just like, at this point, he's just doing stuff, and none of that stuff is good. I'm tired, boss. Finally, on track 16 out of 19, we get a song that's actually legitimately good start to finish. And I feel like the only reason it is good is because of Manny Fresh. I'm just being my own self. Dwayne Carter, I was in that water before Phelps. Saw my father whip the cocaine till he saw whelps. To me, Being Myself is the best song on the album, and my favorite song. The entire Carter 6 is littered with really odd production choices. One thing has stayed true throughout Lil Wayne's career, which is Manny Fresh is the best producer Lil Wayne has ever worked with. Like, if this was closer to the sonic of the rest of of the album, and the rest of the album lived up to the same quality of bars this song does, it would be nearly a 10 out of 10. Out of all 19 songs, it sounds like this is the one he actually tried his hardest on. And the quality of this song sounds closer to some of his past work. This song shows that Lil Wayne definitely has more topics to rap about, but chooses to just keep rapping about the same topics. He does a really good job in this song balancing having substance in the song versus just rapping about nonsense. On here, we actually hear him rap a little bit more about his personal life, instead of just random raps that don't really have a direction or really a theme to them. The next 3 songs are him just throwing anything at the wall to see what sticks.
Oh shit, here we go again.
The first song, Moolah Coming In, I can't really hate on it too much because he put his son on it. Do I personally like the song? Not at all. Do I think it should be on the album? Not at all. But I can respect putting your kid on a song. Alone in the Studio with My Gun, again, super unnecessary song. I have zero clue why Machine Gun Kelly is on it. Kodak's verse isn't terrible, but is it needed on the song? Not really. Is the song needed on the album? No. Written History doesn't even sound like an outro. It just sounds like any other song on the rest of the album. I feel like if you move this song to a different spot on the album, you wouldn't even really notice. Nothing about the song really feels like it's bringing the album to a conclusion, in the same way Let It All Work Out did on the Carter 5, which is an amazing outro. This song, he's just really rapping about whatever and just calling himself the greatest of all time, which normally I wouldn't disagree with, but when you drop a 19-song album and only 4.5 of the songs are good, I don't really think that's the album to call yourself the greatest on. I don't even think with a ratio like that, the album should even come out. Overall, this album was just so unnecessary. There's no reason for this album. No one asked for this album, and especially for it to come out and not be good. I was already a bit skeptical about the album when he announced it, but I still want to give him the benefit of the doubt, because at the end of the day, this is Lil Wayne. And while I don't really think Lil Wayne's necessarily like washed, I think his biggest problem is he's released so much music throughout his career, it's hard for him to just come up with new topics, especially when he's recording songs all the time, and I'm pretty sure most of those songs sound like half of the songs on this album. And it's clear that Wayne definitely has not been in his prime in well over a decade, but he still hasn't lacked in skill, and he still has great verses. I do think this album will leave kind of a stain on his Carter series because of the overall dip in quality compared to the last albums. And even though this album is really terrible, this still doesn't diminish his entire career. Lil Wayne's still one of the greatest rappers of all time. He will still always go down as a legend, but he's definitely not making music at the same level that he once was, which is to be expected as you get older. It feels like he's kind of entered that same place that Eminem is with his career, where Eminem can still put out music, his albums will still go #1, there'll still be pretty big moments, but they'll never receive the reception that they once did. I do think both of them could retire if they really wanted to. Like, Eminem's a grandfather now and he has so much music he's released. Lil Wayne's kind of in the same boat of just having so much music released and he has so many kids. Neither of them need to be rapping anymore. Or if they just went on a hiatus and just don't announce anything like Jay-Z did and just kind of leave the door open to come back, I think that would be fine as well. But if the music going forward is just going to be lackluster and uninspired, there's no reason for it to even come out. And knowing Lil Wayne, he'll probably release a whole nother project within the next 2 years or so. Either way, this album was just an utter disappointment. Let me know how you feel about it in the comments. Did you enjoy the album? Did you hate the album? If the Carter 6 would have came out before the Super Bowl, would you be excited to see any of these songs performed by him at the Super Bowl? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
Ka-Kafanee.